Hi guys, it's Miss Campbell again. Today we're going to be working on Module 12, Lesson 1, on page 359 of your workbook. So please turn to those pages, or that page, 359. Okay, today we're going to be talking about dividing. And sometimes we say dividing by 2. And so today we're going to be talking about dividing by 2, by the number 2. So let's look at unlocking the problem. There are 10 hummingbirds and 2 feeders in Marissa's backyard. If there are an equal number of birds at each feeder, how many birds are at each one? Okay, so the question is, what do you need to find? Okay, so what do we need to find here? What does the question say? How many birds are at each one, or at each feeder? So how many birds are at each feeder? Okay, circle the numbers you need to use. Okay, well, I see 10 hummingbirds here and I see 2 feeders. So those are the 2 numbers I think we're going to work with. So what can you use to help solve the problem? Well, you could use counters, you could use tally marks, you could draw circles or whatever. So you can use counters if you have something at home. You can use like 10 coins or 10 pennies or 10 jelly beans or whatever you have. You can do that. Okay, it says use counters to find how many in each group. I'm not going to get the counters out today because they do have it already drawn out here for me. So I'm just going to use what they've given me here. It says use 10 counters, draw 2 circles on your math board. So they're already here. Place 1 counter at a time in each circle until all 10 are used. Draw the rest of the counters to show your work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we need to draw a total of 10. So as we're doing this, we need to be thinking about it. How many are there in all? There are 10 in all. How many did it go equally? Yes, it was 5 here and 5 here, right? There are how many equal groups then? 2 equal groups. And how many is in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 in each group. Okay, so the way that you can read this or write it out in mathematically is 10 divided into 2 groups equals 5. You have 5 in each group. Or under here you have the 10 divided by 2, and the answer is 5. So it says 10 divided by 2 equals 5. So there are how many counters in each of the 2 groups? There are 5. So there are how many hummingbirds at each feeder? There are 5 hummingbirds. And here's a picture of a hummingbird if you haven't seen a hummingbird before. They are pretty amazing birds. They can fly backwards. Okay. All right, let's look on the next page, 360. It says we're going to be working again with the same numbers. We're going to just do it a different way. There are 10 hummingbirds in Tyler's backyard. If there are 2 hummingbirds at each feeder, how many feeders are there? Okay, so you can divide the number in each group, or you can find the number of equal groups. So you can do it either way because it's all related. It's part of the same fact family, or the same numbers, like what we did yesterday. Okay, so let's look at the model here. It says look at the 10 counters, circle a group of 2 counters, continue circling groups of 2 until all 10 counters are in groups. So here's 2, here's 2, here's 2, here's 2, and here's 2. How many are there in all? There are 10 in all. How many are in each group? Each group has 2. And how many equal groups do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 equal groups. Okay, so when you record it mathematically, you do the same thing. 10 divided by 2 equals 5, or 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Remember, when you have that little house thing, the answer is going to be up on top of the house. So there are how many groups of 2 counters? there are 5 groups. So there are 5 feeders in this situation. Okay, let's look down at the bottom. It says complete the picture to find 6 divided by 2. All right, so we're going to use, we have 2 groups here. We already have 1, 2. Remember, we're going to count up to 6 evenly, going back and forth, 1, 1, 1, 1, like that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if 6 is divided into 2 different groups, how many are there in each group? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 6 divided by 2 equals 3. Okay, now it says write a division equation for the picture. Now remember, when you're doing division, you have to put the total first. So here there are 2, 4, 6, 8 total. And you're going to divide it into 4 groups. If you divide it into 4 groups, how many is in each group? There are 2 in each group. Or you could say 8 divided into groups of 2 gives you 4 groups. So you can do that either way. It's part of the same fact family. Okay, so let's look here on the next one. Real quick, I want you to try 3 and 4 on your own, and then we'll check it in just a minute. So please pause the video. Okay, so let's look at it. How many do you have total? You have 12 total. You're dividing it into 2 groups, and that puts 6 in each group. So 6 divided by 2, 12 divided by 2 equals 6. And another way you could have done it is 12 divided into groups of 6 gives you 2 groups. So that's a part of the same fact family. Okay, now over here we had a total of 14. We divided it into 7 groups. And we divided it into 7 groups. How many are in each group? There are 2. So 14 divided by 7 equals 2. Or we could have written 4 divided into groups of 2 gives you 7 groups. So you could have written that either way. Okay, on to the next page. It says 2 hummingbirds have the same type, have the same mass of 10 grams. Which type of hummingbirds are they? Write a division equation to show how to find the answer. Okay, so we're going to use the chart over here. These are different kinds of hummingbirds. The magnificent hummingbird weighs 7 grams. The ruby-throated hummingbird weighs 3 grams. The violet-crowned hummingbird weighs 5 grams. Okay, so when we're looking at this, now we're going to sit there and say, which one, if I have 2 hummingbirds that together they weigh 10 grams, what kind of hummingbirds are there? So I would sit there and say, okay, I'm going to figure out how much one of them weighs. That might help. So we're going to have 10 divided by 2, because there's 2 hummingbirds that together they weigh 10, equals what? You can count by 2's, and it'll give you 5. So 5 grams is how much each one of them weighs. So which one of these hummingbirds here weighs 5 grams? Ah, look right there, the violet crown. So your correct answers, your correct answer then is the violet crowned hummingbird. Okay, let's look at number 6. There are 3 ruby-throated hummingbirds and 2 of another type of hummingbird at the feeder. The birds have a mass of 23 grams in all. What other type of hummingbird is at the feeder? Okay, so let's look at this. There are 3 ruby-throated. So if there's 3 of them and each one of them weighs 3 grams, I got to figure out how much those ruby-throated ones are together, right? So I'm going to go to 3 times 3 equals what? 9. Okay, now there's 2 more types of hummingbirds at the feeder, but all 5 of them together weigh 23 grams in all. So what I have to do is I have to figure out, when I take those 3 ruby-throated hummingbirds away, I've got to figure out how much weight I have, and then I have to divide that by 2, don't I? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go 23 minus 9, okay? That's 1, that's 13. 13 minus 9 is 4. 1 minus nothing is 4. So I have 14 grams left, but I have 2 hummingbirds that together they weigh 14 grams. So which one of these, if I multiply it by 2, do I get 14? Let's see. 7 times 2, what is that? Oh, that's it. That's 14. So it must be the magnificent hummingbirds that there's 2 of those. So there's 2 magnificent hummingbirds at the feeder. Because the magnificent has a mass of 7 grams. And there were 2 of them. So they're at the bird feeder. There were actually 3 ruby-throated hummingbirds and 2 magnificent hummingbirds. Okay, let's look at number 7. There are 12 hummingbird eggs in all. If there are 2 eggs in each nest, how many nests are there? Okay, so there are 12 hummingbird eggs in all. If there are 2 in each nest, so what I could do is I could draw out 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I could draw out 12 hummingbird eggs. I can circle by 2's. And really the problem is going to be 12 divided by 2, right? So how many groups do I have if I divide it up by 2's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I would have 6 nests. Oh, excuse me. Woo. All right, number 8. Becky made videotapes while a giant hummingbird fed 4 times and a ruby-throated hummingbird fed 8 times from her new feeder. Each videotape caught the same number of feedings by the hummingbirds. How many feedings were shown on each videotape? Okay, she made 2 videotapes. The giant hummingbird fed 4 times, and the other hummingbird fed 8 times. Each videotape caught the same number of feedings by the hummingbirds. Okay, let's look at this. So first, you're going to want to add 4 plus 8 to figure out how many times they were there, right? 4 plus 8. So there were 12 different birds that fed. Then, how many videotapes were there? There were 2 videotapes, right? So there were 12 birds that fed, and you're going to divide it by 2, which gives you 6. So there were 6 feedings on each videotape, because these were the total of during the 2. We want to figure out how many were just on one, so then you divide it by 2. Okay, let's go to, on the back, I want you to do these by yourself on page 362. Have your parents help you check it, double check your work and make sure that everything is good. And then on your own, I want you to do the goal pages, page 363 and 364. Take a picture of each and send it in to your Google Classroom so your teacher can grade it. So I hope you have a good day. Bye.